Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Visualize what it is you want to achieve before you achieve it. Never give up, never surrender, never say never. It's not over until God says it's over.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Salem Speakers Podcast. My name is Jacob Salem, and I am today's host. Our guest today is Donald E. Archey, and I was told that E stands for excellence. He is a best-selling author, motivational speaker, founder of Sales Domination Academy, and someone with a unique connection to one of the greatest personal development legends of all time, Zig Ziglar, who personally mentored him in the early 1980s. Donald is also the author of Don't Give Up, You're Almost There, recipient of the 2026 Educator of the Year Award from Insider Success TV. And he has spent decades helping entrepreneurs, business owners, and sales teams achieve measurable results while staying grounded in purpose and in faith. Donald, my friend, welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. That was a wonderful introduction. In fact, as you was introducing me, I wanted to look around and go, well, who is he introducing? Who is that person?
Hey, I love the quote that says, you know a thing or two because you've seen a thing or two. And as I did my research about you and leading up to today, man, you are a man who has achieved so much in your life, should be incredibly proud. And I'm so honored to have someone just like you on today's show.
It's a blessing to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation. And by the way, cheers up to you, all the accomplishments that you've done. God has truly used you, and I'm a big fan of yours.
Well, thank you. Thank you, my friend. Well, common mentor, one that you actually got to meet, got to be mentored underneath, one who I was able to read books, listen to tapes and CDs, and get to know his son, Tom Ziglar. You were mentored by the legend, Zig Ziglar, in person. I'm wondering, what was that experience like?
I'll tell you, it was a life-changing event that took place in my life. Mind you, this happened when I was probably, I think, 21, 22, 23. I was working at the time at Holiday Inn with Holiday Clubs International, which was based out of Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee, which is where Holiday Inn world headquarters used to be. It's no longer there. But I had the unique opportunity to be the general manager, Western manager of the Holiday Clubs International. I had to go mandatory to meetings. And W. Clement Stones was one of the ones that I went to meetings from, seminars. But Zig Ziglar, back in those days, you guys might be too young to remember. They didn't have CDs and all that. They had cassette tapes.
That's right.
Is what they had. And so I would listen to Zig's cassettes, and he had a seminar in Texas. I went to the seminar, and I was on the elevator, and the door opened, and guess who's standing there? Zig Ziglar.
Wow.
And he had quite a few people there, and we were at the same hotel. And make a long story short, we ended up having dinner, and it's all in my book. One evening at the hotel, and I was sitting there, and he looked at me because I was staring at him, and I'm thinking to myself, what is he going to say? And he looks up to me and I say, aren't you Mr. Zig Ziglar? And he goes, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Now, Zig was a very spiritual man. That conversation that we began to have, it became evident to me that how spiritual he was. And I think he saw the spirituality in me because he invited me over to his table. And from that moment on, we had dinner. And he became my mentor and a very good friend of mine until his passing. And he trained me. I'll tell you, one of the things he taught me was the sale doesn't begin until the customer says no.
Facts. That's a good one. Let's go into some more lessons, right? So in my notes to help guide us along, do you have like a memory of like the biggest lesson? What is the biggest lesson that Mr. Ziglar taught you during your time together?
I think there's a couple of them. One is on the spiritual side. The spiritual side was that Zig made it quite clear to me that through this thing called the art of selling, you have to get rid of resentment in yourself. You got to let go of past failures. Your past does not define your future. And Zig would continually tell me that just because you're at the bottom of the sales board, that was last month. That has
Yeah.
nothing to do with this month. And Zig told me that your past is a springboard to your future, and to it will elevate you to the next sale. That was one of the greatest things that he taught me, and I resonated in my spirit to this day. It marinates on me to never give up, to never surrender, to never say never. It's not over until God says it's over. As long as you're breathing, it's not over. You still have the opportunity to reach your goals, dreams, and aspirations.
That's amazing. It's incredible. Just talking to you beforehand and listening to you now, I can actually hear his spirit living on through you. And I love helping carry on the legacy of Mr. Zig Ziglar. It's even why I showcase his book and his son Tom Ziglar's book on the shows behind me during every single episode that I do.
Wow.
He was a man who has impacted multiple millions while he was here, still
Yes.
impacting millions today.
Yes.
Now, clearly, he's impacted your life. Would you
Yes.
say that it helped shape literally the trajectory of your career?
Absolutely. Had it not been for Zig, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I remember Zig would always talk about, and the new upcoming book that's being released August 15th, The Art of Closing the Elusive Sale. And this book is designed to propel you to the next level. There's a difference in selling. Let me share this, and Zig would say that there's a difference in selling and manipulating. That's two different things. And to master the art of closing with integrity is to persuade someone to do what they already wanted to do.
That's right.
That's our job, is to help them do what they already wanted to do. And Zig would make that quite clear. And the way, and Zig was a great storyteller. And I do that in the book. If you ever listen to some of Zig's tapes, you'll see that he mastered the art of telling stories. And that's what one needs to do to master the art of closing the elusive sale, because everyone loves a good story. And I say in the book, everyone wants to buy, but no one wants to be sold. There's a
Facts.
difference. There's a big difference. When you buy something from someone, you don't go home and say, honey, look what they sold me. That's not what you say. You go home and go, honey, look what I bought. See,
That's
there's a
right.
difference.
That's powerful. That's a mic drop moment right there. Nobody wants to be sold, but everybody likes to buy.
That's right.
Well, I want to learn more about your forthcoming book, The Art of Closing the Elusive Sale. Is that where you mentioned the date August? Can you repeat that for our listeners? You're going to release that in August what?
The release date is going to be August 15th. It's going to be released on Barnes & Nobles, Amazon. The last book that we wrote, The Art of Don't Give Up, You're Almost There, reached #1 on Amazon in 3 different categories. So we're very excited about this book. It's not just a book, it's a legacy, because I'm getting into details, the philosophy behind sales. It's not your
Yeah.
typical sales book. This is not, when you pick this book up, you're going to notice from the very first page, this is not a typical sales book with techniques and this and that. No, 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 no. I'm going to show you and describe what I learned through years, mentored by Zig, on this psychology behind the sale. Why do people buy? Why do people not buy? There's a reason why you're only selling if you're at the bottom of the sales board and some people are at the top. There's a reason. There's a reason.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show you that reason and how you can always be not maybe at the very top, but you'll be in the mix of things. You'll be there.
Well, I wrote it down. I have a little Google Doc to the next, my side screen here. I got it written down. The Art of Closing was it Elusive Sale? Is that correct?
Yeah, The Art of Closing the Elusive Sale. In fact, it's on Amazon now. You can actually go to Amazon and Kindle and get the pre-order right now. You can pre-order it right now. Go to Amazon. That's The Art of Closing the Elusive Sale. Place your pre-orders right now, and you'll get it on the release date of August 15th. And you'll get, in fact, if you reach out to me on my website, Sales Domination Academy, I'll send you an electronic copy of it well in advance, so you'll be one of the first ones to read it.
Well, that's amazing. I will go onto Amazon to support and get my pre-order in as soon as we're done today. And I'm excited to read it myself and to learn, as I believe we're all constantly trying to learn every single day. Even the people watching this or listening, you're only watching or listening because they're trying to learn something.
Right.
Let's circle back a little bit if we can, because you have another book out there that I wanted to make sure we talked about, which was your best-selling book titled Don't Give Up, You're Almost There. I believe that's a message that every one of our listeners all around the globe needs to hear. Let's talk about that for a minute. Why did you write that book?
It touched me because everything in that particular book is a life journey. To not give up, you're almost there. At one time when I was working with Zig and traveling the country and living that fast-paced life, earning the money, I began to feel I had reached a ceiling, a glass ceiling. People, minorities, women, you hear about this glass ceiling thing that you can only go so high.
Hmm.
And I had reached that plateau, and I saw other people that I trained excelling me, and I trained them. I got caught up with drugs and
Hmm.
alcohol, and went from living on the beach in a condo, big home, big cars, to living under a bridge, homeless.
Yeah.
But by the grace of God, he brought me from the pits of hell and brought me back. And that's my mission in life, to let people know, never give up, never surrender, never say never. It's not over until God says it's over. Be persistent. Persistence wears down resistance. Persistence is resistance arch enemy, and that you can make it. And you have to have these goals. And if you have these goals, dreams, and aspirations, you can achieve it. And that's what, don't give up, you're almost there. Most people give up right before success happens.
If we go into those darker times, right? I
Yeah,
mean, all the way back to the living under a bridge time, what kept you moving forward?
it was the hope. Don't judge people, because I'll be honest with you. We are all only a drink away from being an alcoholic. We are only one aspirin away from being an addict. You don't know what caused that person to be on the street, what caused that person to be homeless. The Bible talks about we'll always have the poor among us, but also as a Christian and who loves Jesus, we need to, our characteristic needs to be like our Father, love.
Right.
We need to love one another. If God is your Father, then you should have the characteristics of your Father. And his characteristics is love, forgiveness, to forgive people, to have understanding, to be patient, and to help people. And that's my mission in life. And when I was under that bridge, I can remember, and I told in the book, in the story, that I was on drugs, and the drug dealer came up and found me and said he wanted his money, which was, I think at the time, 20, 30, 40, whatever it was. And I didn't have it. He pulled a gun out, put it to my head, and pulled the trigger, and it jammed.
Hmm.
That is nothing but God saying, not yet. I'm not done with you yet.
That's powerful. I mean, you're preaching today. This is a powerful message. What would your message be to someone who's, where you were, down in the dumps, made a few bad choices, trying to figure things out, discouraged? If they're listening to this, let's say they found us on YouTube or they're scrolling social media, if there was just one message, one clip you could rattle off to them as someone who's been there, who's been to the top, been back to the bottom, and back to the top, what would that message be for that person today?
To not give up. Listen, and Zig talked about it, and you'll read it. Napoleon Hill, one of the great philosopher, and is whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. If God gave you the thought, then all you need to do is believe what it is that you conceived, and you can receive it. It is a fact that what the mind is like a magnet. It will attract the most dominating thought that's in it. That's why I talk in the book, and not only in Don't Give Up, You're Almost There, and in the new book coming up, The Art of Closing the Elusive Sale, is PMA. And I know you've heard about this, positive mental attitude.
That's
If
right.
I ask you, if I fill up a cup of water right in the middle, and I go, how much water is in this cup? And I do this in my seminars, and you'll have people go, well, the cup is half full. I say, well, if it's half full, how come it can't be half empty? Or if it's half empty, how come it can't be half full? The half full is the positive way of looking at it. The half empty is the negative way of looking at it. I listen to the TV, the weatherman, they'll say it's going to be partly cloudy tomorrow. Well, my mind immediately thinks, if it's going to be partly cloudy, why can't it be partly sunny? But we are mechanically put in as a young age to think negative. The paper, somebody died, something bad happened, because negativity sells.
It does.
Yeah.
Negativity, fear, all of that.
PMA, positive mental attitude. In order to reach the goals and dreams and aspiration that you have to continue to be positive. Visualization, I talk about that. Visualize what it is you want to achieve before you achieve it. I say you got to see it before you achieve it. You need to see it in your head. When I was with Zig, I could see myself doing what Zig was doing. I was only 24 at the time. I'm 64 now, but I could see what, and that was 40 years ago. But
Right.
he taught me to visualize, and that's what I talk about in the book. For your entrepreneurs, whatever business that you're opening up, see yourself doing it. See yourself unlocking the door. If you haven't unlocked the door yet to your business, see yourself with your grand opening. Visualize it in your mind, and your mind will attract the people that you need to help you along the journey. You can't do it by yourself.
Amen. Well, you said it earlier, right? It's the negativity that sells, and you spent over a decade. You spent decades helping people improve their sales performance. And I want to kind of segue in that direction. We talked about it a little bit in the beginning, and I obviously want to spend a little bit more time there because that's what I believe one of your areas of expertise. So when many people hear the word sales, they immediately become uncomfortable. Why do you think that is?
Salesman is a fast talker. They're a con. It's a con. Zig taught me this. God gave us two ears and one mouth so that we could listen twice as much as we talk. A salesperson, to reach the pinnacle of sales, you have to be a great listener. Because if you listen to the prospect or the customer, they will explain to you how to sell them. And it goes back to what I had said earlier. No one wants to be sold, but everyone wants to buy. This thing of being a fast talker or being a good talker. No, to be a great master art salesperson, you have to be a good listener and to listen. And that's where you get the bad buy when people say, "Oh, I'm in sales." Well, that's that con, that manipulation, the fast talker. And we want to show people the techniques of how to be a master salesman consistently, paycheck after paycheck, and repeat business. That's the secret, is for a customer to constantly come back to you or refer you to other people. That's how you know you've reached the pinnacle of salesmanship.
You're just dropping bombs today. I mean, just filling us with some education, and thank you so much for that. If you had to give just one tip, one thing that a new sales professional could do to feel a little bit more confident in sales without feeling so pushy or even slimy, as I'm in sales, you're in sales, we love serving other people. What's one thing that somebody could do to become more confident that's just starting out?
Couple of things. First of all, whatever industry you're in, whatever service you're selling or service you're providing, the company that you're working for has a script. And I have seen this multiple times that a lot of times salespeople want to go off the script. They don't want to follow the script. Well, that company has been in business for quite some time, I would assume. So they know the script. They wouldn't tell you to read something that's not going to work. Don't reinvent the wheel. They want to add their little piece and ticks and that. And one little sentence can change the whole pitch. So my first advice to someone that's coming on board in sales, when you get the job and the company gives you a pitch to follow the pitch verbatim.
That's right.
As you get better, you'll be able to ad lib. As you understand the product that you're selling, you'll be able to ad lib and go off the pitch. And I don't think I'm saying anything that any owner or manager wouldn't tell their new prospect. Follow the pitch word for word. The other thing that I want to share is you have to understand that no is part of sales. It's not personal. You can't take objections personally. I tell people in my seminars, for every no that you get, that means you're that much closer to a yes. I get excited on no's. Yay! Because I know the next one is going to be a yes. If that's not a yes, the next one's a no. Yay! I'm getting closer and closer to a yes. Every no means I'm that much closer to a yes. And you can't take the no's to the next conversation because the customer will hear the negativity in your voice. If you're on the phone, if you're face to face, if you're even in your typing, all of that comes out. So let it go. Rejection is part of sales. That's it. But I also talk about in the book, and Zig taught me a lot, pre-qualifying. You need to talk to people that has interest in what you're selling or the product that you have. That's why you're getting so much negativity. That's why you're getting so much objection, because you're pitching the wrong person. You don't want to sell. You don't want to pitch everybody. Just because they pick up the phone does not mean pitch them. Just because they open the door does not mean pitch them. Just because they tell you to sit down and what do you have does not mean I'm going to pitch them. I'm going to pre-qualify them. There's certain questions I'm going to ask, and I will determine whether or not I'm going to pitch you, not you determining whether or not I pitch you.
That's good. That's good. Just because they can fog a mirror doesn't mean they even want the offer where you should make the offer.
Exactly. Exactly.
I have an amazing sales team at Salem Speakers, and that's one of the things I actually tell them all the time is the qualification to get into our business, although others may think otherwise, it's not just a Visa or MasterCard.
Right.
Like, we actually want somebody who wants to be a speaker, wants to actually, get more leads for their businesses. And so that's such good, powerful advice.
Pre-qualifying, there's questions that you need to ask that prospect. There's levels of steps in sales. It's just like back in the day when we had stick shift. You go gear 1, and then you shift to gear 2, and then 3 and 4. Well, in sales, it's the same theory, and Zig would talk to it about it all the time. The warm up, that's stage one. That's your first. That's the first thing you got to do. You got to warm the client up.
That's
You
right.
can't just go right into it. And then people say, well, they know you're trying to sell them. Yeah, they know that. They know that. They know you're trying to sell them, but there's a technique to it. The warm up. How you doing? How you been? To bring their guards down. People buy from people they like. Have you ever bought something from somebody you can't stand, but and bought it anyway? That doesn't happen.
No.
You buy from people that you like. And even if the product doesn't turn out to be all that good, you know what? They justify and say, that Donald was all right with me. Let me give him a call. That's
There you go.
because we we did a proper warm-up. And I talk about that in the book. I talk about that in seminars when I'm doing my seminars. That's the first step. Your second step is you need to qualify. And there's a difference in qualifying and pre-qualifying. That Zig would talk about that all the time. There's what's called pre-qualifying and there's qualifying. I don't have time to get into that, but it's in the book. And then we need to sizzle the product. You got to sizzle that thing, baby. You got to put that prospect in. I was doing a seminar with Royal Caribbean with their Salesforce team, and you see commercial that come out that says $4.99. You can go to the Bahamas for 5 days and 4 nights, 3 days, or whatever. Well, you and I both know that $4.99 is not going to take you to the Bahamas, the Caribbean. But when the people call, that's how they get their into. They call, and then I talk to the sales team. I tell, listen, you got to paint the picture, baby. You got to put that prospect on the ship. You got to use words like, it's fabulous. Have you ever been on a cruise before? Oh, no. Oh, you're going to love it. The food is spectacular. Filet mignon, lobster, pork, whatever you could possibly want. Do you drink? Oh, I drink a little bit. Oh, all the alcohol's included. White liquor, dark liquor, out of the bottle, out of the faucet, beer, wine. It's absolutely spectacular. You sit on the balcony, watch the sunrise, watch the sunset, and say, baby, look what God let us do. That's painting the picture.
That is painting the picture. Now, I've never been on a cruise myself, but you sure make it sound phenomenal. Well,
but that's in any product that you're selling. You need to learn to sizzle the product so that the prospect is actually visualizing your product, visualizing whatever it is you're selling, whatever service you have. And it doesn't matter if it's a cruise, it doesn't matter if it's a car, it doesn't matter if it's insurance, it doesn't matter if it's speaking, it doesn't matter. You got to sizzle in your line of work. You got to sizzle the client. You're going to be on stage. Isn't that something? Wouldn't you imagine the folks clapping, and then when you get done, it's a standing ovation? Can you see yourself doing it? That's sizzling.
that's good. That's good. You got to do it. Well, one thing I also appreciate about your work is that you've been helping founders build organizations that don't depend entirely on them. And so we're shifting a little bit now into topics around leadership. Why do you think that is so important?
It's very important. I've seen entrepreneurs lose their business because they're the only closer. I wrote another book called the Escape Plan, the Entrepreneur Escape Plan, is to teach owners how to train other folks to be you cannot be the only closer. You're going to fall out. You'll stay in business for a while, but you'll burn out because you can't survive that way. And you need to hire within. Those persons that's at the bottom of your sales board, believe it or not, that could be your next manager.
That's right.
And it's not your top. It's always not the top one, because what's going to happen to your top closers? They're going to leave and open up their own business. First of all. So I talk about 3 layers. I talk about the bottom layer of your sales team, the middle layer, and your top layer. It's the bottom layer that I'm going to show you how to flip them to the middle layer, and you're going to create another bottom layer, and you're going to flip the middle layer to the top layer. And that's how you grow a business. You can't be the only one closing the deal. And if you take a vacation, the whole company falls apart because no deals are coming in. Revenue is lost. And that's what I train.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Is there anything around leadership that you would, before we kind of transition to where you're headed these days, any leadership trait, any leadership secret that you would want to leave our listeners with?
One of the things in leadership is, listen, and I'm a very spiritual person, that first of all, when your people look at leaders as the leader, not the follower, you need to have people that's going to work for you, to respect you, for what you're doing, not for what you can do. See, I'm not into this fear factor where when being a leader and your people that you're leading is afraid of you. You need people not to be afraid, but they work for you because they see what you're doing. You need to be the first one in the office, the last one to leave the office, and to be willing to help other people reach their dream goals and aspiration. Be concerned about the people that you're leading. Be concerned, genuinely concerned, and they can tell if you're not.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. This has been one of my most enjoyable podcasts because you and I share so much in common, even though there is a little bit of a generation gap. But we share the same mentor, the same faith, and a very similar trajectory in business world. And so one thing that I wanted to make sure we had time for, which is, I read that you were an ordained minister at just 16 years old. And, we prayed before this episode today. Faith has clearly been a part of your journey. How would you say that faith has shaped your approach to business, sales, leadership, and everything else?
It's the foundation of everything that I do. I was called into the ministry at 16. Through the grace of God, I was adopted. I was adopted at 6. My mom and dad, whoever they were, left me at the hospital. I was an orphan before I opened my eyes. And for 6 years, I was in orphanage homes and different homes that they put me into. I experienced physical abuse, mental abuse, sexual abuse. But God sent 2 wonderful people to adopt me at the age of 6, Edgar Archey and Bonnie Archey, born and raised in Anderson, Indiana. And they taught me that they introduced me to Jesus Christ at a very young age. And by the time I was 16, I got the calling to go into the ministry and preach the gospel, spread the good news. That I'm just somebody telling everybody about somebody that can save anybody.
That's right.
And I'm in my business and whatever I do, I'm always telling you, put your faith in a higher power.
Right.
I call him Jesus, you call him whatever you want to call him. But put your faith in it's got to be something bigger than you. There's something bigger than you and I.
That's right. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah, that's amen. And one of the ways I like to say, I don't know if you know this about me or not. I know some of my listeners do, but I'm too. I love sharing the gospel. Called into full-time ministry. I was called into full-time ministry at 17. Same thing, to preach the gospel. Just tell people about the good news that Jesus Christ loves them, wants to have a relationship with them. And so that's been the foundation, the core foundation of everything I do. And similar to you, I'm assuming, I might be putting words in your mouth, but more so from the stance of I understand I'm a sinner, condemned and unclean. I need Jesus in my life to save me. And every single day I'm seeking first his kingdom and righteousness. And so we do our best to be our best to try to give him glory in all things. And I love that.
What you just said is a powerful statement, man. I mean, that's powerful because I talk to people that's holy. Sometimes they're at church, they're holier than thou. And I explain to people, listen, no one on this earth was sin free except one.
That's right.
And that's Jesus Christ. And
Amen.
the Bible specifically says not one is good. They say, oh, you're a good person. No, I'm not. I'm a decent human being. But the Bible, not one is good. We all fall short of the glory because our nature, we were born in sin and will die in sin. But the name of the game, I believe, when we die, and we are going to die, and I've done more funerals than weddings. And I have never seen a U-Haul behind the hearse of all the belongings of the person that's laying in that hearse in that U-Haul. I've never seen that.
Yeah.
So that tells me no matter what you own, you're not taking it with you.
Facts.
When they lay you down and put the headstone on you, it's going to have your name. It's going to have the date that you were born. It's going to have a little dash and the date that you left this world. The most important thing on that headstone is the dash, that little dash. What did you do while you were here to help somebody else?
That's good. That's good, my friend. Well, I've loved this conversation. You've built the businesses, you've written the books, you've mentored leaders, you've spoken in front of massive audiences, you've won the Educator of the Year award. You've done so many things. You have another forthcoming book, which I will be getting my copy as soon as we're done with this. As you look ahead, what are you looking forward as the next thing for you to chase? What are you most excited about, and what are you working toward today?
The number one goal is to continue doing what I'm doing is this next generation. I always tell people that your youth is we're only here for so long.
That's right.
So we got to share as much as we can that unique talents and ability that we have that God gave us to the next generation. And I'm always reaching out to charity events. To do more charity events, particularly younger audience charity event, to help them. And I'm teaching that thing, PMA, baby, positive mental attitude.
That's right.
Never surrender. Never surrender your dreams. It's possible. Even on drugs, dream of the day that you're off a drug. Yes, stay in reality, but dream. Even as an alcoholic, dream of the day that you're alcohol free. Dream. Even if you're living paycheck to paycheck, dream of the day that you're no longer living paycheck to paycheck. Dream. Never
Right.
surrender your dreams. Dreams do come true.
That's good. Man, that's good. Well, when people think about you years from now, when they think of the name Donald E. for excellence, Archey, years from now, what do you hope that they remember?
That he tried to help someone, that he tried to bring someone or introduce someone to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. That he tried to, as the Bible says, feed those that were hungry, clothe those that were clothless, help those that are helpless. Whenever I travel and with my speaking engagements, whatever that promoter gives me, I make it a point to give 10% back to that community.
Hmm.
And I do that no matter what, where I am. And I do that because I don't want to come to a community and just take from that community.
Yeah.
I want to give back to that community. So for whatever money that promoter gives me, I ask, what is the homeless shelter here in your town before I even arrive? And
Yeah.
I make it a point to whatever they gave me for coming. I take 10% and I give that back to that community, that homeless shelter in that town or wherever I'm at. I give back. That's what I want to be remembered. Someone that had an enormous amount of compassion and empathy for the human race.
Well, that's good. That's good. Well, Donald, my friend, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be here. One thing that really stood out for me today is simply that success isn't reserved for the most talented.
No,
It's often reserved for those who just simply don't quit. Every entrepreneur is going to face a setback. Every leader is going to experience doubt. Every dream is going to encounter obstacles. And the question isn't whether the challenges will come. The question is whether you're going to keep moving forward. And so for everyone listening today, remember the title of his book, right? Don't give up. You're almost there. Your breakthrough is so much closer than you think. Donald, if we obviously know where to go get your forthcoming book, and we'll get this released before the forthcoming book on Amazon. But if somebody wanted to reach out to you directly or wanted to learn more about Sales Domination Academy, where is the best place for them to go to connect with you, follow you, or engage you for a speaking opportunity?
please follow me at, you go to the website, salesdominationacademy.com. Of course, I'm on social media, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, TikTok, I want to say something real quick before we go.
Let's go ahead.
Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once wrote, and based upon what you just said, if you cannot fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, keep moving forward. Never surrender, never give up. Keep moving forward.
That's powerful, my friend. Thank you. And thank you for joining us for this episode today. And for our listeners on here today, thank you for listening or watching another episode of the Salem Speakers Podcast. We'll see you next time.